Our read today will be Think Before You Speak. Man was meant to listen more and talk less. That is why, as the great British statesman Benjamin Disraeli said, nature has endowed man with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Endowed means blessed. If man was meant to talk more and listen less, he would have had 2 mouths and only 1 ear. Imagine how we would have looked. How strange with 2 mouths on the 2 sides and 1 ear in the center. And mind you, the ears were like funnels, open to all the time. There is no door with which you can close them. Whereas if you have to speak even one single word, that word must pass through 2 walls, 2 fences. There is firstly the fence of these 2 rows of teeth. There is secondly the fence of the 2 lips. Before a word can be spoken, it has to pass. It has to pierce through these 2 walls, through these 2 fences. Therefore, we must think at least twice before we utter a word. A very wise man once remarked that of the unspoken word, you are a master. Of the spoken word, you are a slave. Once you have spoken a word, you cannot get it back. Do what you will. Therefore, you must be very careful about the words that you speak. Once the word has left your lips, you will not be able to get it back. What are unspoken words? They are things you want to say but remain unsaid, as thoughts in your mind. Once you have put the thoughts into words, once the words have left your lips, you cannot change them or control them. A young man went to the spiritual teacher and said, I have spoken very harshly and unkind words to my friend, and he is deeply hurt. I am afraid I lost my friendship to him. How can I make amends? Make amends means how can I make changes? How can I get things better? The wise teacher gave him a fresh sheet of blank paper and a pen. He said to the young man, write down on this paper all the harsh things that you said to him. The young man did as he was told and showed the paper to the teacher. Now tear up the sheets into as many small bits as you can, the wise teacher said. Soon the single sheet was torn into hundreds of tiny bits of paper. Throw the bits out of the window, the teacher told him. That was easily done. It was a windy day, and the tiny bits were scattered far and wide even as the young man watched. Now go on to the street and collect as many bits of the paper as you can, the teacher ordered to him. The man was taken aback. But that will be difficult, he stammered. It will be difficult indeed, but do you give it a try, the teacher said. The young man went out. He returned half an hour later, exhausted. Exhausted means tired. He had not been able to get hold of a single torn bit from the paper he had torn up. This is what happens with the spoken word, the teacher said to him. Once you have spoken the words aloud, it is very difficult to take them back. Therefore, learn to think before you speak in anger. Socrates was one of the wisest men in the ancient world. Many were the youths whose lives he influenced for the better. Socrates counseled his disciples to keep their mouths shut and to speak only when absolutely necessary. O wise one, how many we know when it is right to speak, they ask him. Open your mouths to speak only after you have asked yourself 3 questions and received an affirmative answer to each of these 3. replied Socrates. Affirmative means a positive, firm answer. What are the three questions? The first question we must ask ourselves before we speak is it true? If we are not sure about the veracity of what we are saying, it is better not to utter a word. When we utter words carelessly, we ourselves become transmitters of untruth. The second question to ask is it pleasant? Many are the empty remarks and vain statements that people make in idleness to hurt people. Idleness is when you have nothing to do. It is better that these unpleasant words remain unspoken. The third question, according to Socrates, is it useful? Is our statement going to benefit the listener? Will our words bring comfort to someone? Are we likely to help someone with what we say? Only in that case should we go ahead and speak. What we learn from this extract is that we should always think twice before we speak. What we think is right might not actually be right when we actually speak it. We should always think wisely before we speak. As very rightly said in the last paragraph, we must ask ourselves these three questions, and if we get a yes as an answer, only then should we go ahead and speak what we feel.